Hi, this is M. Garrett, Matthew, recording from my iPhone. Trying this out. Trying like a little bit of a new approach with my videos because I guess a lot of reasons. I might have to be getting mobile, more mobile, and also because I'm just tired of using cameras and all the kind of technical stuff that's required to do a high quality video, and then the editing and all that stuff. So what I'm trying to do is this YouTube capture thing where I'm just kind of doing it quick, and I'm just going to try to put whatever in the imagery that I think is worth seeing, and hopefully, people will get interested enough to want to watch a little bit once in a while. So I got about 20% of battery, and I'm trying out a kind of a new format. I figure they're going to give me all the videos I want, right? Store them for free up there. Why don't I just do recordings on my cigarette breaks? Like once a day or something. So let's start. Let me flip the camera around and show you some of the other stuff I got. I don't know if I can now that it's recording, so let me turn it around. It's like flowers and basil and oregano, different stuff like that. Just like seeing things grow. In fact, I need to get a little water in one of these. So, what do I see today? Here's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. I'm in Peoria, Illinois, and there was I got a newspaper today, like I never do. But I got one today, and there's this story in here about two boys that died in a train car, like cleaning out a train car in Pekin, which is right outside of Peoria here. And I just wanted to stick this quote in here and see if anybody else reacts to this the way I did. There was carbon monoxide in these things. These guys were like subcontractors that were hired to clean out these train cars, and they found two of them dead in one of the train cars, and it was full of carbon monoxide. And here's the thing: it says the train car has. I'm trying to see what the word is they used about what was in the tank, because they were elusive about that. It said there was I'm gonna have to find it here. It's like front page, and then they went to the back page and blah blah. Newspapers. All right, here it is. Agridyne. Here's the company. Agridyne LLC. Agricultural Supplements, okay? It's on the city's south side, Pekin. And these two guys are in there. They open up the tank, and apparently one of them sucked in a lungful of carbon monoxide and fell right into the top of this big drain tank, Let me see if I can get you a picture. It's on the front of the newspaper. Let's see. Can you see that? I don't know. I hope you can. Anyway, one of them fell right in because it just knocked him out, I guess. And then the other guy goes down in to try to rescue his buddy because they're the only two there. They're the only two guys there. Nobody's supervising, nobody overseeing anything, no safety equipment, nothing to pull him out. So the other guy just jumps in there and tries to save his buddy. And of course he dies because he sucked in some carbon monoxide and passed out in there, and then other people started, because the first guy's yelling, so other people started getting around the scene. And by the time the fire department and everything got in there, both these guys were in real bad shape. The guy who tried to rescue his buddy died at the scene, and the other guy who fell in first was taken by ambulance to Pekin Hospital, where he was pronounced dead about an hour after his rescue. Now, here's where it gets a little more interesting, I think. What was in the tank, and why did these guys work for Agridyne, or did they work for a subcontractor? Why was there no supervision? Why was there something in this tank that would kill two guys, and yet there was no safety equipment? Somebody's obviously responsible. So what I'm giving here is an example of what we call journalism today. And I want people to understand this is not journalism. All right, here we go. So the firefighters get there. They can't save these guys in the end, unfortunately. It's a real bad deal. But they did get in there and pull out the bodies and got these guys and said, what could possibly have been present in the tanker? They asked Fire Chief Kurt Nelson. What could possibly have been in that tank made by an agricultural products company that gave off that strong of a carbon monoxide presence so that he just opened up the top and it just knocked him out? Here's what the fire chief said. I've got no idea yet. These guys are trained in hazardous materials. My dad was a firefighter. They understand what creates this stuff. I've got no idea. Nope. Including whether its presence might have been related to the liquid still in the car. The unknown liquid. Apparently they don't have testing equipment. I could tell you what that liquid is. So how come we don't know? We'll look into it, he says. We'll try to find out, he said. A spokesman for Agridyne, the company responsible for having these guys here in the first place, to do this work in the first place, was not available Tuesday to discuss the presence of the gas, whether safety precautions were adequately taken before the accident, and whether the victims were employed by the company or an outside firm. The Federal Occupation Safety and Health Administration will conduct an investigation, Eaton said. Pekin Police Department will also review the details of the accident. And here's the thing. We'll never hear about it again. Everybody's like, oh, there's an accident, and oh, it's all official, and the fire department's involved. I'm sure things are being handled now, and people tune out. Let me repeat this. I've got no idea yet, but we'll look into it. A spokesman for Agridyne was not available to discuss the presence of the gas, whether safety precautions. Well, if they're not available and they're responsible, Mr. Journalist, Mr. Peoria Journal Star, if they're not available, you don't have answers. And if you don't have answers, you don't have a story. And if you don't have a story, you're of no use to us. You see? That is what journalism is supposed to be. Find out what actually occurred. Let us know so that we can figure out whether or not we should be upset with how things are happening in our nation, state, city, community. That is the function of the press. You know this. You got this in journalism school, I hope. So, why are we getting stories in the only newspaper in our city that say, we don't know shit, nobody knows shit, nobody was available, we don't have any comments, we won't know what happened, and then we won't hear about it again. Unless this video, I doubt it, but unless this video got some kind of attention, and they actually said, okay, well, we better look into this and put another story up. But like the way it would typically go, nobody ever thinks about it again. And here's my problem with that. Those two guys were probably working that job because it paid, better, than what they could do elsewhere, because there's risk involved that they might have been unaware of, and that's why it pays better. Or maybe they had other jobs like roofing jobs or something that they got tired of taking risks on, so they took this because they thought it was safer. You know, I know guys like this. I've had jobs like that, and they're just showing up to clean cars, right? They have families, they have kids, they've got mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters, and they matter. You know, these two guys just went to work. And so for us to address that with, I've got no idea, and we don't know how it got here, and well, the company's not available to tell us, and all this is an absolute dereliction of duty on your part as the free press. Get out there and do something. That's part of what's going on in this country, is that if the people actually understood what was wrong or what was actually happening, they would be really upset. But they don't, because they get stories like this that say, we don't know, and this was not available, and court records have been sealed, and blah, blah, blah. Well, what is the function of the press? If you're not going to get us the story, what's the function? That's my rant on the free press today. I got other stuff. I didn't even light my cigarette yet. Let's see if I got battery. We'll see how long this lasts. Anyway, I just wanted to squeeze that one in because I saw that in the paper and I'm like, do other people have bullshit newspapers like this? I've lived in Peoria my whole life, except for college, and I lived up in Chicago for a couple of years. But I mean, other than that, I've lived in Peoria my whole life, so I feel like I can dog on it. You know what I mean? There's just a lot wrong, man. There's a lot wrong in our country, and people are tuning out. I hope you can hear me. I don't have a microphone. I don't know, my dad died recently, so I started deciding I'm tired of just being so quiet, keeping my mouth shut about everything. Life's too short, I guess. You know, I imagine that happens to a lot of people. My dad died in February, and it sort of shook some things loose. Kind of pushed up the timetable on a few things. I feel like I got to move things forward, you know. I imagine that happens to a lot of people. Ooh, that was a wasp. Got my tomato patch going out there. But I probably won't be in this house very long, if you want to know the truth. Probably going to be here for another 30 to 90 days, I'm guessing. Chase Bank is coming for it. It's my cousin's house. You know, we've been trying to make money off the grid. We've been trying to make money outside of traditional jobs. We've been trying to make money, online. And we just haven't had a lot of luck, to be honest. We're not very smart or something. We're not very good at it, I guess. But I think it's a tough period. I just got done talking to my neighbor. Her name's Mrs. B. Sweet lady. Just got done talking to her about how hard it is for her kids right now, and how hard it is for her, even, you know. And when I look at this neighborhood, and there's houses for sale all over the place. My dad built a lot of houses in this neighborhood, probably 6 or 8 houses in this neighborhood. My uncle built some of these. My uncle built this one that I'm standing in. I drive around this neighborhood and I drive around this town now, and I don't even recognize it. I don't even recognize it as the place that I've known all this time. Because it's not just the businesses that are shuttered, and it's not just the big corporate eyesores that have come into town. It's not just the potholes in the streets. It's not just, I mean, I could go on and on. It's not any one thing. It's
all of it. It's like this whole surreal thing that's happening across our country, but only in some places. Only in places where money is not abundant. In Peoria, Illinois, if you're not working for Caterpillar or one of the hospitals, there really isn't a lot else. There's other stuff, but it's not enough to provide growing opportunities for the labor force that's here. And the labor force that's here, low battery. And the labor force that's here is based on an industrial economy, and we're switched now to a service-based economy, and this place is way behind. The mayor of this town has tried really hard, Jim Artis has tried really hard to make it better, but he hasn't, in my opinion, chosen the right way. And so there's too much polarization everywhere. I think people have got to stop thinking about all this like us and them. They've got to stop looking at everything like, oh, if those other people would just change what they're doing, then everything would be okay. That's the biggest mistake we're all making right now, because it isn't about Democrat and Republican or liberal and conservative or any of that stuff. Those are all distractions that they use to keep us fighting each other. Simple as that. They keep us fighting each other because the people who really control us, we outnumber them 100,000 to 1. They don't have a chance to maintain control unless we are fighting each other. We're way too strong together for them to continue to control us. It's that simple. I'm sorry, but it really is. Like, a lot of people will say, it's such an oversimplification. He's full of shit. Okay, that's what it's all about, right? Discourse. Let's hear what you think. That's what it's all about. But that's what I think, so I'm putting it out. We got to look at it like we're all the 99%, I know some people don't like the Occupy movement. Get over it, man. They had some really good ideas, and they were completely misportrayed on the mass media. So you don't know what that movement is doing, I don't think. Unless you've really dug in, and I have, and I appreciate what they're trying to accomplish, and I appreciate how they're trying to accomplish it. The leaderless revolution is kind of the only way. Ooh, I barely got some burn left in this thing. Talk too much. Yeah, so, that they came up with that idea, the 99%, and it really applies in many ways, because we're really all in the same boat. They pick emotional issues and say, look, those people disagree with you. Like, if you're Republican or you're conservative, they go, oh, look at this, they want to kill babies, or they pick out something else that'll just infuriate you. They want to take 10 commandments out of the public building or whatever. They pick out whatever's going to get you mad. That's it. There's the formula. And then on the other side, they pick out what's going to get you mad at those guys. And they keep us distracted and looking at these emotional issues like that, like abortion or the death penalty or guns or whatever they can keep us distracted with, whatever they can dangle out there in front of us, And if we keep looking at that, if we keep letting them control the dialogue, we lose. If we keep buying into this idea that it's the Democrats that are the problem, it's the Republicans that are the problem, we lose. If we keep looking at this like our guy's got to win, we lose. We have to look at this like we're all in the same boat, and there's less than 1% of them. And I say them because they're very different from you. They have the kind of money in their families that means they don't have to mix in regular society, and they go to private schools and they eat, in exclusive places and live in gated communities, and they have the kind of access to things that you will never have Their life looks very different. They don't have normal socialization like we do. It's a very different thing. Like, you can't equate, oh, they're just people too. The people that are that rich, I swear it's almost like a psychosis. They get the reason they're that rich is because they have this